Hey, how's it going? Decided to return to a little bit of guitar content for a change. I was given a Squier Affinity Strat just to do with as I pleased. As you can see, it needs a little bit of TLC. I don't think it was particularly played that much, but it just wasn't used and left in a garage or a shed or whatever to live its life out. So hopefully it's going to have a better time with me. Strings are obviously very rusty and corroded and strung incorrectly around the string trees. Bodies covered in fingerprints and dirt and all sorts. Fingerboard's a bit mucky, but generally it's just a bit corroded and dusty and horrible. So yeah, it definitely needs a bit of help. So I'm not going to show all of the footage because it's nothing super exciting, nothing that's not been covered before by myself or other more competent YouTubers. So beginning just taking the disgusting strings off. You can see how dusty it is in this shot here. It hasn't been looked after at all. There's quite a lot of grunge and stuff on the fingerboard, so maybe it was played a little bit more than I thought it had been actually. Normal stuff that sometimes happens when guitar strings have sat in the bridge for ages. It can actually be quite difficult to get them out. Normally you can just feed them through the holes. So as you can see, I've just used a small Allen key just to poke them through from the top, just to help me get them out. And yeah, there's a lot of dust. Pretty rusty. This isn't going to be a video of me, replacing all the parts and upgrading everything. It's more of just let's clean it up, let's get it functional again. Just using some pliers to help get the springs out there. Again, once they've been in there for a long time, they can kind of wear into the zinc blocks and it kind of be a bit difficult to get out. So taking the bridge screws out now, just doing them little by little. On a lot of these bridges, I don't like to remove them under tension just because it can cause damage to the base plates, and especially on these inexpensive bridges, the base plates are, they're not going to be stainless steel or anything like that where it's going to be nice and strong. It's going to be very weak and malleable. But actually looking at the bridge, it actually looks pretty good. It's not worn on the inside. There's no deep grooves or anything like that into it, so which is good, which is a good thing. So I like to put all the little screws and bits into a pot. So it's not a pot, that's the top of a pickup, the Seymour Duncan pickup box, the boxes the pickups come in. They make for really good little dishes to put stuff in, to soak in oil or WD-40 or whatever you want to use. The screws I like to put in like little baggies. Again, normally if I was doing a big revamp, I would just get rid of these screws, just toss them because they're all corroded and stuff. But I'm not for this. So I'm just going to stick them in a bag, put a little bit of oil in there, hopefully that will soak and get all the crap off of it, just so they'd be a little bit more nicer for when I put them back in the instrument. I was quite surprised when I took the scratch plate off that actually there was some paint on the inside, which looks like some shielding paint. Not a particularly good job. It's got smeared over the sides, quite patchy, but looked alright. Electronics, standard fare with the Squiers, your little inexpensive pots, but quite nicely soldered together. Wasn't any loose cables or cold joints or anything like that. So I'm just going to leave as is. I am, however, you can see me rubbing my hand on it here. It wouldn't focus, but I had sort of black fingertips. So it probably was some sort of conductive paint that they put on. These paints have basically little pieces of metal in there to sort of create a shielding box to prevent feedback and extra noise. But it wasn't particularly well done, and obviously the only part on it that was, the only part of the pick guard that has shielding is just above the electronics cavity. So you could put shielding tape all over the back of the pick guard, and then either have like a little wire coming up over the edge, or when you're painting it, you could just paint a little lip over the edge of the route cavity, so that way it makes contact, so you get a really nice secure shield on it all. So yeah, just spraying the pots with a little bit of contact cleaner just inside, giving them a good turn, just so to get any corrosion, any crud off of the wipers on the inside of the pot. Generally seemed alright. They weren't noisy when I tested them before, but it's always good just to give it a little once over. So I'm spraying a little bit of lemon oil first, just to moisten and loosen stuff up a bit. I've got a few toothbrushes of different stiffnesses. Really good for just getting crud off of the fingerboard. You can use, old store cards, credit cards, or whatever that you got that have expired. They're also quite good for being able to scrape some of the gunk off of the fingerboard. These toothbrushes worked quite well. This is like a smoker's toothbrush, so it's very stiff bristles. It wasn't super ingrained. The guitar had obviously been played, but it wasn't like some of the instruments I've had in the past where there's huge thick layers of gunk. But yeah, so I got it off with a toothbrush. What I'm using here is a sanding sponge. I've got quite a few of these in different grades, so this is just a pretty fine sponge that I'm just going all over, so all over the frets, all over the fingerboard, just to get off any, bits of corrosion off of the frets and any sort of nasty, more stubborn parts off of the fingerboard. I used to use steel wool for this, and I still occasionally use it, but I found these sanding sponges just create a lot less mess. Trouble with steel wool is it obviously gets everywhere when you use it. So these sanding sponges came in quite handy actually. And you can see I'm just adjusting the neck just with a straight edge, just to get the neck straight, and that way I can check the frets for any high spots using a fret rocker. I didn't film any of it. Well, I thought I was filming it, but I actually wasn't. The frets weren't too bad. I've spot leveled some of them. You can sort of see on this fret here it hasn't finished, but I was zooming in because there was some glue or something on the fingerboard there. So just using a chisel, just gently getting it off. You will see that this chisel definitely needs sharpening, but it was fine just to get a little bit of this excess glue or whatever it was on the fingerboard. So now just using the last of this Crimson Guitars shielding paint. Really good stuff. I've got a bottle. I've managed to do, I think, about 4 guitars out of it. And that's doing a couple of layers, so it works really well. What I would suggest is if you're using any of these sort of paints like that, wear gloves. I know I'm not in this, but do wear gloves because it's all got metal filings in it. It's a bit of a pain to get off your skin. And the last thing you want to do is, say, get it on your skin and then accidentally rub your eye or put it in your mouth and, cause yourself a world of pain like that. While the shielding paint is drying, just using a bit of this fretboard juice. Really good stuff. You don't need a lot of it, but I tend to just put it on, wipe it in, and then just leave it for a couple of days to soak. And then I can wipe over the excess afterwards. So bridge has been soaking in some oil for a couple of days. Just taking it apart now, cleaning everything off. Again, the saddles are these cheap little zinc things, but they're fine. The screws and the springs were a little bit rusted, a bit corroded, but not damaged in any way. So they're all functional, so I'm just going to reuse all of it. And the bridge plate was fine. Everything looks good. I am going to replace the block because it's got these sort of thin zinc blocks you get on these import trims. I happen to have a couple of random import size trem blocks when I did a demo for Music Lily a couple of years ago. So I thought, let's stick a stainless steel one in this. You can see here like the size difference between it. These blocks are quite good. They more or less line up with the holes. It's not exactly perfect, but it's close enough that the strings can go through and not get bound in there or anything, so I'm not really too concerned about that. And yeah, it might just give this guitar a little bit more oomph. But to be honest, I wasn't really bothered about doing it. It's just I happen to have the block spare and I've got nothing to put it in, so I thought I might as well stick it in this guitar. Back of the neck I gave a bit of a light sanding. Some of these Squiers have very thick layers of poly urethane finish on it. This one didn't actually, it wasn't too bad, but I just wanted to give it quite a light sand over, and then just finish it with a little bit of tongue oil, just because it gives it a bit of a nice colour, feels quite nice on the hand. You give it a little bit more of a, I don't know, upper class look, wouldn't look so cheap, so it's quite nice. So a little bit of tongue oil on there. Going to put some 7s on this. I had one random pack of Rev Willy 7s, so I thought let's give them a go. It's during the demo when I was trying to record. It's very, very, very easy to overbend with these because the gauge is so small. So yeah, that was quite interesting. There is a little bit of a demo at the end, but I fucking hate recording myself playing guitar. I get quite a bit of recording anxiety, so I end up like trying to film straight for like an hour, and then probably only like 2 minutes of it is actually usable. It's been a complaint before where people said, why don't you demo the instruments you work on? But I just get too nervous when I'm filming myself and recording and playing, to be honest. That's why I don't do it. I don't like doing it. But there is a little demo at the end just so you get a rough idea what it sounded like. Again, it's nothing special. It's a Squier Affinity Strat with the stock pickups and everything, but it, plays a bit better now. Sounds fine. So, yeah, enjoy the demo and thanks for watching.